Alright, now that we're back here in Unreal, we're going to go ahead and open up that sequencer file that has our character dropping down, our hero shot. Now, of course, we get to replace the animation that we just created. We're going to replace it with the one that has been exported. So what we can do here, go to our properties and open up this actual file. See it playing out. This is the single frame that we did, but we're going to right click and we're going to re-import with a new source, and we can just head on over to where we just exported that animation. Okay, and we have one in there, but we're going to replace it with our updated animation. So things are going to break a little bit, but it's totally fine. And what do I mean by breaking? Well, let me show you. Here's our animation that we created. Pretty cool. It's feeling good. Nice blocked out. And we're going to now come over here. Now keep in mind, things start a little bit different than what we had from before. You know, the timing of things is a little off. And remember that we gave ourselves a whole additional amount of time before we actually had the animations play. So you might have just noticed I pulled this guy out because if I were to play through here, there's actually a whole lot of time of the export that's included. And if you can zoom in, we're going to zoom in here. You'll be able to see that when I pull this out, it's going to automatically loop the animation. You see this endpoint right here. There's a like a hash mark right there. So we're going to take the animation back here so it ends appropriately at the right time. Okay, let's scrub through the animations and see how things line up. I'm expecting it to be just a tad off. Meaning, let's go to our hero cam. Again, change it to cinematic view. Make sure we're in this camera. And we're just going to scrub through for now. So our camera kind of dashes in before he does his hand movement. So we're going to kind of line up. Right now what we have is our animations that we created in Maya and our blockout camera that we did here in Unreal, and we're going to kind of marry them together right now. So what I want is for our character to drop down with enough time for us to crash in, zoom on in. So we're going to register, that is, to register that character before we zoom on in there. So right now we zoom in and then he lands, but I actually want him to land here and then we crash in. We zoom on in close to him. So let's move this back. Alright, he's dropping a little bit too soon. Whoops. We have the wrong here we go. Let's change this to entrance. Why are we having a hard time? It seems like we're not updating this appropriately here. Let's go to this actual animation. This, you know what? It's funny. Whenever issues like this happen, where you see like a problem or something was done incorrectly, I love it when it happens during tutorials. And I'm not being facetious. I really do enjoy it because these things happen all the time. And it's actually good to see how people will get through it. So what I did here is I updated this. I re-imported with a new source. I'm going to do it different now. I'm actually just going to go ahead and import this animation in there like I did previously, as opposed to trying to update. And then I'm going to replace the animation that's here in this file. So I'm going to go ahead and grab character entrance 1. I'm going to grab character entrance 2, which we just exported. Seem not to like that. Let's do it this way. Character entrance 2. Okay, great. Just like one before. Which skeleton would you like? I want the mannequin. Go ahead and import, and it is in. Now, I actually know what happened. What happened here is that sometimes when an animation is currently active or being used in sequencer or other type of files, it doesn't like to refresh. It kind of has a hard time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just right click here, properties, and change that to using our next character, or this new animation. Now you see right here the character went to a T-pose and it popped back down. Cool. Now it's actually going to work. Now we're having our new animation. I'm going to scrub through. And like I said, I'm expecting it to be off by just a little bit. Alright. Still seems like it's playing the previous animation. Alright, we have ourselves a little bit of a puzzle. See, now that's the animation there. Why is it here pointing to the correct animation, entrance 2, but we're seeing the previous animations? Well, I'll tell you what it is. Sometimes Unreal, just like any other program, can be a little bit difficult. Likes to be just a little stubborn. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And then I'm going to bring the animation in again. Scrub through again. Actually, I'm just going to play it. Still seems to be having an issue. Still playing the previous animation where there's no... Let's see if we go to another screen. Now what I'm doing right now is debugging. Okay. Now I see here, I'm looking at this character. And when I scrub, interesting. It does look like it's playing the animation, but way up there. How interesting. Oh, I think I know exactly what's going on. Okay, this is perfect. I'm glad this happened. Okay, I completely forgot I animated it here. That's funny. I completely forgot that I animated it here to drop down. So I'm actually seeing, it was probably playing the animation, but just because it's moving this pose down, I forgot that I animated on top of that. That's hilarious. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of these keys. Oh, that's funny. That's not the first time I did something like that, embarrassingly. Okay, so we are off on time, but that's okay. That's okay. We can make this work. All right, here we are. So now, there it is. There's our animation. That's perfect. All right, so I actually want the camera to crash in when he closes his hands right there. And if we look, right here, we're a little off. We're at 159 here, and the camera pans in or crashes in at 180, so we're off by about 20 frames. That's okay. What we can do is we can grab this guy, and when we move him, you see these numbers right here? We're plussing at 20. So we're moving in. It's still a little soon. That's 175. We actually want him to do that at 185. So let's go ahead and move it about 10 frames. So when we come in here, slams down. Yeah. Maybe delay it just a bit. The reason I want to delay it is I don't want too much happening at the same time. I don't want to zoom in while at the same time having movement on the character. I'd like it just a little bit of offset so that our eye can see it happening. So let's give it 6 frames, how that feels. Not bad. Maybe too much. Let's pop it back just a little bit. I'm taking away just about 2 frames over here. I think it's a little too offset. There's about 3 frames. See how this goes. Not bad. That's much better. Okay, cool. Now here is something that's pretty interesting. Just to help myself out later, this is something I'm going to do right here. I'm actually going to add a key to our animations to keep everything uniform in case I have to move things around. So focal length, aperture, distance, and all translate. I just like to have a key right here. Make sure that we are all on linear, like what we did before. Again, linear, like what we were doing before. Having no swimming Bezier curves. Oops, let's bring that back up. And you might say, well, you know, Bill, why'd you do that? Well, I like to have everything line up when I can. So all these right here line up with this animation right here. And you might say, why do you do that? Why do you care? Well, what if I have to grab everything? And what if I have to move them all together? Well, it's a lot easier when I know that they all line up. And say I have to give myself, wow, geez, I need another additional 20 frames in the beginning. Just kind of set yourself up for victory. So you don't have to have so many headaches. Keeping things as tidy as possible is will help you out in the long run. Really, really will. Trust me on that one. Okay, so let's see how this timing feels. We're coming in, we're coming in. Character comes down, and he gets mean. He balls up his fist. Okay, cool. Now we're going to start doing some things that's going to help us polish this out. And let me point out exactly what I mean by that. Now, first off, we can see his feet sticking out a little bit, and actually I had a big feeling that this is going to be happening. We see those feet sticking out before he comes launching down. We just need a little bit more extra room up there, meaning that he should start a little bit higher. And I'm going to show you how I can make this work out for me for the best. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create, see, I'm going to pop over here. Oops, what I'm going to do here, I am going to give myself something to work with. I'm going to create, much like what I did in Maya, I'm going to bring a cylinder in here. And I'm going to move it to the center of the character. And I'm going to place the top of it, make sure the top of it scales with enough room so I actually do not see it in our camera in the beginning of the sequence. Okay. So if I would actually go to the sequence, the top of it, I don't see. See if I scale down, I see it. Oops. I'm going to make sure it goes up so high that I do not see it. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to export all of my geo, my reference geo around here, geo that I'm essentially going to be seeing in camera most predominantly. I'm going to bring that into Maya. Let me show you how I do that. Grabbing all of this geo and go to export. Where is it? Oh, here, sorry. Export selected. Export selected. I am just going to go ahead and find a place on my desktop where I'm going to call it Sun Temple Environment. Okay, just defaults to FPX 2013, totally fine. And we're going to export that out. And then on the Maya side, I'm going to bring it in so that I can use it as a reference when I'm animating. Now, however, here's the thing. It doesn't really do me any good without knowing what I can see from this camera. So you might have said, well, Bill, hey, why didn't you grab the camera when you did all of that export? Very good question. Here's the thing. Grabbing the camera as it is in the environment will only export it essentially wherever it is in time that I do the export. It won't actually do the animation with it. However, if I come over here to my sequencer, select the camera, right click, export, doing it this way now. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing in which I export out my camera to the same place that my environment went to. But let me show you what happens when I hit save. Now I get this dialog box. For XPS options, I want to make sure that I map the skeletal motion to root. Check that. This will be off by default. Make sure you click that. And what that's going to do is just basically bake everything down so that I can actually use, maintain the animations. So I'm going to export that. Now before we go, here's something I want to point out because this is how we're going to make sure everything lines up together. Again, remember, this is going to export everything from 0. But our animations start here all together at the same time at 64, frame 64. When I exported our character animations, this is essentially the start of the animations in Maya playing relative right here. So in Maya, the animations I believe started at 100. I always start things off 0 because this is exactly why I want to make sure I can move things around as needed. So if I open this scene up in Maya and just play it off, it's actually not going to line up. Our animations here start 64 frames after 0. So we have to add 64 frames to our animations in Maya in order to make sure that these work properly. Now you might say, geez, that's, I don't like it's an odd number, not a like odd or even number, but it's an odd number, 64. Well, because I set a key, make sure everything is moving at the same time, I can do something else. I can move this over so that it starts at 100. This second, if you look at the number on the left, that's the actual number that it's starting on. So we see that it's adding 36 frames and it's starting at 100. That means it is an additional 100 frames on top of the 100 that we have in Maya. I can do that here, same thing. So they all start at 36. Everything starts at the same time. And then I can export that as well. But that might be a little bit of overkill. Right now we'll just remember add 64 frames so that we can have everything start together. So let's hop on over to Maya. Alright, here we are back in Maya. Let's bring it back to our perspective here. This is the scene that we were working on. And now what we're going to be doing is importing in those animations. First, we can start with our environment. Here we are. Now you're going to say, hey, that doesn't line up. What's up with that? He's like in the middle. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Because this is world 0. And it correlates to the world 0 that's in Unreal. Well, how's that going to work out? How are we going to be able to do that? Well, if you remember, I have this reference right here that I created. I'm going to move our character to that place so that he is in the correct reference. He's in the correct area for that. But I want you guys, to see if anybody can catch something. That's definitely going to change back in Unreal. Yes, but I'm going to show you something really cool. That's going to help you out a lot. So here's something that also happens whenever you're exporting Geo from a game engine, bringing it into Unreal. A lot of times it will also export the collision that is in the Geo. So you'll have essentially almost like Z fighting, where you'll see a mesh on top of the other mesh. If you tumble your camera around, it looks like it's kind of blinking in and out. You can select that top and just delete it. Same thing here. Just delete those sides if it bothers you. Whoops. And that helps out a lot. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first things first, I'm going to make sure that I add all of these new Geo pieces to our floor. Add the selected objects. Now I won't be able to select them. Perfect. Now I'm going to grab the world offset here, and I'm going to move him back to where he needs to be. And again, I know where that is because it is right here in this reference. Brought that guy in right here. Now I have additional keys, so I'm actually going to go ahead and delete those keys because that's going to bring him back here. And I don't want that. I want to keep him exactly where he is. So he falls, boom, right there. Okay, now what else are we missing? We're missing the camera. We have to be able to see what we see in Unreal. And if you remember, we exported that separately. So we're going to go ahead and import that, import in our camera. Now here's the thing, the camera's coming really small. So we want to make sure that we can do one of two things. I know that the camera's right here, so I can actually just click and drag and find it, or what I can do is go to our outliner, bring our outliner over, and I should be able to see our camera that we brought in. Here we go, Hero Shot Cam. There he is. So what I like to do, just to help me out, I give it a scale key. So I'll bump this guy up. Let's call it 15. So just so I can see it. Does it do anything to the actual shot? No, it doesn't. So if you remember, you remember, we have to add 64 frames to our character so that it all matches up exactly as before. So I'm just going to click drag. Here's our character. Again, we don't have a lot of keys, which is good. That's again by design. So there's a few ways we can do this. One, since there's not a whole lot of keys, we can go ahead and just select drag, shift drag I should say, and then move everything over to get to 64. And that's going to line up exactly with our camera. In fact, let's move this over here. Shot cam. There we are. There's our shot. You know what I'm going to do? I see the Z finding happening on this guy too. I'm going to get rid of one of those so it's just one cylinder that's happening there. Okay. So this guy comes in. And it matches exactly what we had in Unreal. And now we can animate exactly to our camera, which is pretty cool. There we are. And you know what I'm actually going to do? I am going to create an additional layer here. Positioning reference, and I'm gonna put this guy right here into the positioning reference. So whoops, didn't want to do that. I want to add selected object, so I can turn that off if I need to. There we go. Like right now, I don't actually need it. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Oh, and this guy in the back. Turns out we don't need this additional guy in the back right here. So we can turn that off as well. Okay, so here we are. Now things are lining up exactly like we have them in Unreal. So let's do a little bit of polishing. So first off, we're going to move our character up just a little bit. If we move this all the way back here, we do see some of the character right there. So we're going to move him up. We're going to start him a little bit higher in space. Here we are. Let's get that character to start a bit higher. Move him up just a bit here. You know, I have I know there's other ways you can go about, creating selection sets and such. Let's bring this in here so I can see I want it to be above that. There we are. We're going to move this back a full frame because it's about spacing and timing. That's what animation is. Spacing and timing. How far apart things are and how long does it take to get from one space to another. In other words, how many frames. So since we moved them up, I'm going to bring this guy back a frame just to kind of make up for the fact that he is moving so fast in such a distance. Let's go ahead and turn this guy off. Alright, the first part that I'm going to work on right here is this actual land. I want to get this nice type of overlapping feeling. So what I'm going to do is move this all the way over. I really want to stretch right here actually. So what I like to do is stretch this out a little bit more. Just get that nice lengthy type of feel. And I can actually add a little bit of stretch to this body right here. I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to add too much, but it does give such an impact. Feeling that character smash into the ground. Let's release some of this. Just make him feel a little bit more stretched. Get a nice line of action with the body, with the head even. You can stretch a little bit on the foot as well. There we are. Just a bit more. That way when we hit, we're going to have a much more impactful type of feel of it. So right here, we're going to actually turn off the stretch. It's a 1 frame. It's just a 1 frame stretch. And I'm going to work on this pose right here. This pose right here can use a little bit of help. And again, it's only 1 frame that I see it, and I only wanted to interpolate, you know, just from that pose to the smash pose. But this is our breakdown pose, and we're really going to get a little bit more of a feeling of an impact with this, strength with this, and a bit of power. So we're going to begin that squash type of feel to it. You know, everybody's done the bouncing ball test where you know, we had that impact, that stretch to a squash. That's exactly what we're doing here. And if you look at the bottom part is already hit. Like his legs are already squashing. In fact, I can just have it just move out just a bit more. So I feel that sensation where the feet are sliding into place. I think that's cool. I like that a lot. Whenever you see it, you know, have just a slight settle. Same thing here. We're going to have the feet slide into place. And we barely even see it in camera, but we definitely feel it. Okay. Move the knee up just a tad here. Same here. And I always like to look into camera to get an idea. We always want to make sure that we're playing up to camera. We don't have to, let's actually go here. And this is our hero shot cam right now. I'm going to tear off a copy. And again, I like having my camera settings where I'm showing my safe frames and such, film gate. I feel as if it just gives me a little bit more, kind of like a margin, so I know when things are bleeding out of where, you know, I need to worry about. And I always turn everything off in this one. You know, I won't be selecting any of the controls from there, so I just have it as the actual geometry. So I like having this just to be able to glance over. Okay, so of course, everything right here, that looks a little silly. It's not really working. So let's make sure that from here to here, let's make sure that we are making this feel completely impactful, making it feel strong, very, very strong. So what I like to do, again, you know, you'll see like when things interpolate between one another, you have a control just kind of going wild out there, and it's totally fine to completely just zero it out. Zero it out, and then start again with it. So I'm going to move this guy forward. And what I'm looking to create is a C shape with that hand. And again, I'm looking at this guy over here as reference. I can even turn off manipulators. So I only see manipulators in this view, and I don't see the gizmos over there to cause any sort of confusion. I just want to see the pose. And I feel as if right here I'm going to really get that sense of that wind up with the hands and the arms. And of course, fix this right here. You know, it's the hand that makes the final impact that's going to be dragging the most. And what I want to have is this feeling of power deriving from his shoulders. Here we go. Let's move this just a little bit more here. There we go. This guy's a little wild right there. Let's bring him down. I'm looking to make this C shape. This is what I like to do. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, right here, I want to get that C shape. And you see it's not really lining up because the shoulder's not really working for us right now. Let's see if we can fix it. There we go. A little bit there. I want this kind of feeling. Maybe we can lead it in a little bit with this arm. I'm very much on creating the graphic shape of what you're trying to create in order for it to really sell. Maybe we can do a little bit of stretch on this as well. We can do some here. Probably change a little bit of that. Now let's change that to 0 here. Okay. And I'm going to be kind of cheating a little bit. Cheat towards the camera. This is where things get a lot of fun, really fun, when you start looking at it from the camera perspective. You know, I really want to make it feel like that arm is dragging down. Now that I look at it, I'm almost feeling like I want to have the arm move the... Let me just take a look at something here. Yeah, you know, I kind of want to have the arm almost doing that C shape from here now. Let me show you what I mean. Almost like it's carrying through, where it's just the same repetitive shape, the same C shape all the way down, as opposed to it kind of changing for that one frame there. Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot better. And again, you only see it for just a hot moment. Let's have our elbow here, or shoulder, excuse me, help us out. Shoulders, I can't overstate how much shoulders really, really make the pose, especially in the arm. Shoulders, hands, you know, it totally changes things. It just really sells things, help you sell things, and that's what you want to do. It's the graphic shape of it. Now that I see this, you know, and this is totally fine. I'm not feeling this foot behind. I feel as if, you know, the whole thing with that was that I wanted to have a bit of separation. I didn't want some twinning, but that's okay. We can still maintain that. Yeah. Here we go. We can still maintain some separation. We just don't have to be right on top of each other there. Here we go. Now that I see it. You know, I feel like we're doing a bit more of an S curve right here. I'm thinking we should change this to more of a C, like a big, big C. Not so much the S. And that's fine. We can change that. That's why, again, I'm such a big fan of keeping things all on the same frame for as long as I can. I really do like that, the ability to, change the pose like I'm doing right here, right now. I think it's very important to remain flexible for as long as you can. And if you look at it and say, gosh, you know, it's not working, I'm going to change it, do it. My gosh, do it. You know, it's the worst thing you can do is fight a pose where a moment of scene where you're just like, it's not working for me. It's just not working. I'm not feeling it. Totally fine. Change it. It's your shot. It is all you. See, now I'm starting to like this. Now I'm seeing where we're going with this. You know, of course this looks a little silly. Yes, I know. This pose is not exactly what the character should be doing, but I'm just squinting and I'm seeing graphic shapes. I'm not concerned about anatomy. You know, yeah, this is wrong. This is all broken. I totally agree. Yeah, it totally is. It's broken. And I'm not worried about that right now. I can get that stuff to work. What I'm really worried about right now is getting that graphic shape of this character coming slamming down, and then I can fix all that when I need to. After I say, you know what, I'm getting that rhythm, I'm getting that energy that I want. See, now I'm starting to feel it more. Because when I go to here, I feel like we're maintaining that C shape as opposed to, you know, fighting it and changing it a little too drastically in the shot. You know, maintaining that stretch like what I want. Better, much, much better. Yeah, it's your shot. If it's not working, change it. Make it work. Make it work. Own it. You know, one of the best, I wonder if I can get like a nice, as if he's, make it feel, yeah, that's kind of cool. You know, you don't want to have any kind of tangents, like you don't want that thumb and the thigh in the same space. You don't want that. However, it'd be nice if we can get, you know, this feeling where it's, you know, this right here is still feeling separated. You know, and I love that we're having this much of a conversation and with essentially a stretch frame, with a smear frame. But these things are so important. And you notice there's, you know, 1, 2, 3 other frames before you even get here where I'm not really caring about. I care about it, but I just don't really am too concerned about it right now. You know, I'm essentially polishing to the camera. I'm polishing my block out to the camera. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, let's help out some areas like over here, kind of clean some stuff up. I feel like we can, you know, it feels a little too loose. I don't like the feeling of you know, space, the negative space happening between the legs here. I feel like it could be, you know, let's make it feel, oops, let's make it feel more like a again, think about graphic shapes. You know, this is just a graphic shape with it. Whoops. But let's make it feel a little bit more like it's a proper kind of smear frame to it. You know, when I first started animating, I was a teacher made a comment to me about smear frames and such, and then they showed us Tex Avery animations, and my jaw hit the floor. I mean, these are cartoons that I saw when I was a kid growing up, sure, just like anybody else, but when you really started frame by framing things and looking at how they accomplish those smear frames and the amount that they do, it's just incredible. You know, it's insane. It's incredible. It's incredible what they're able to get away with. Let's do a little bit more of a stretch on this guy here. And again, I want to, you know, keep things in a straight line. Let's bring in our reference. Just there we go. See, things are a little heavy on that side, so let's move them over here. This is a little broken. That's fine. It's off frame. I get that, but it's still good to just make sure things are moving the way that you want it to. You know, even off screen, you want to make sure that it's not broken. You know, I think would be cool is if we enter the frame, just seeing one of the foot, and just, you know, kind of just hinting at it too. So here, bop, bop, bop. And we can even, you know, with this guy right here, I think that we can move this one image up, one pose up just a little bit in space. So I'm just going to key all of that, and then we come into here. I think we can grab here. The main movement areas, same with the hand. Bring that up in space. Just like a ball drop. Control that distance. I just want like a toe popping out right there. And we can move these up right here. Move that up just a little bit more. Okay, so when he comes in, it's just like a toe. And then legs, full body, smash. Okay, I like that. Okay, let's now start working on some of that polishing. Tell you what, I'm going to say that this is a chapter right here, and then we're going to go into the next chapter where we're really going to be polishing our character towards the camera, offsetting some of those joints and such. And then after that, we're going to export again, bring it back into Unreal, and wrap everything up in our shot to camera. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next chapter.